This video is brought to you by Greater Commons. Greater learning, greater opportunities, greater life. Visit us at greatercommons.com.
So we're going to look at concurrency in Go, the Go programming language. And I have a little program here, and I'm recording this because somebody asked me a question about it. But if you want to get to this little program, you could go to the Go Playground, play.golang.org/p/u, capital L, Y, A, capital C, M, F. That's a lowercase l, V, and a dash. Let's just confirm that's a lowercase l. All right, I'm going to drop that in, and I'm going to replace that with a lowercase l. There we go, and hit enter, and it brings me to the code. So when it comes to understanding Go routines, you kind of just have to walk through, and this is just going to be a walkthrough of this code. And if you want to, learn all about Go routines, there's a great GitHub repo, GitHub goes to 11, and so that's my GitHub account. And you could go to Golang training, and then there are all these concurrency Go routine examples right here, so you can check those out. And then if you want to take that training, I have a training that offers that, and you can find that by going to either greatercommons.com, which is a website that some friends and I are building to deliver more cost-effective educational services, allow people to teach. Or you could go to, if our website hasn't launched yet, it should be launching in the next couple of weeks. Go to Udemy Todd McLeod, and you could find that Go training in there where I talk about concurrency. So now let's look at this example. So we were calling a function gen, and we're assigning it to a variable in, whatever the output is. Well, what does gen do? And this is how I understand Go code, concurrency, and concurrency patterns. So concurrency is a design pattern, and then whether or not it runs in parallel depends upon whether or not you're running on a machine with more than one core, or if you have access to more than one core. And so here's the function, and it returns a channel of ints, and those ints are just received from the channel. So we're just receiving from that channel. And so we make a chain of ints, and that's out. And then we launch a Go routine here. And so this Go routine is launched and off running, right? There's nothing stopping it. The code flows straight through and returns out. Okay, and so that is like a Go routine. So this is off and running in its own Go routine. And so our code sequence is we enter package main, that's where code programs start and go. And then we enter func main, and then we start sequentially going through the code. We call gen. Gen comes down here. We make a chain of ints. We assign it to out. We launch this code. That's out of the way and running, and then we just return out. And so in is a channel of ints. It's going to receive ints. Ints will be coming off of that, off of in. And so now we're passing in into all of this, right? All these different factorial functions. Let's just see what's happening with this gen function here. So gen, we're going to loop, and then we're going to loop again. So 100 times, we're going to assign 3 through 13. I have no idea why I chose those numbers. There must have been a reason. We're going to assign 3 through 13 onto here, and we're going to do that 100 times, and then we're going to close that channel, and that's already being returned. So when this runs, it's going to come here, and it's going to assign 3, and it's going to hold. Like the code in this Go routine stops right here because there's a 3 on the channel, and channels without a buffer, they block until you're pulling something off. And so if I put a value on a channel, then that value, that code stops. The code stops. So the code is stopped right where out is highlighted until there's something that could pull that value off of the channel. There's no buffer in the channel. We're not using buffered channels. I don't recommend buffered channels. And so you've got a value on the channel, and it sits there until something pulls it off. When something pulls it off, there's room to put another value on the channel. And so that allows you to synchronize code, that property. And so right now in this Go routine, we're stopped right there, but our flow, since that's in its own Go routine, that went off and it's running, and our flow continued. We returned out. We assigned that channel to in. We passed in into factorial. Let's see what factorial does. So factorial receives a channel of int, which is what we passed in, and this is the value that's coming in. Now we're going to make another channel of int, and we're going to assign it to out. we're going to launch another go routine, and then that's off and running, and we return out, which is another channel of int. And so we assign that to C0, right? And so our code flowed right through, right? Flowed right through, did this one, and then called it again, flowed right through, assigned it, and then, you know, just so it flows all the way through. So our code is flowing all the way through right there, and those sound effects help. And then our code comes down here, and we create a variable y int, and we have that right here, y++, and we're just printing out, it's like, looks like a little counter. And now we're going to range, and we're going to call function merge, and we have all of these variables, and all of those variables C0 through C9 are receiving a channel of int with a value coming off of the channel, right? And so we have all those, and we want to merge, and they're all passed into merge there. So that's going to be the fan in. And so let's look real quick at the factorial. And so here we're just going to go func. We're going to range over in. So now it's pulling a value off of that in channel. That in channel was the one that got passed in, and that was this one, and it came out of gen, and gen is putting a value onto that channel. And so when that value gets pulled off, now this go routine can stick another value onto this one, right? And then that same channel is this one right here that got passed in, and now this one can pull another value off of that channel, right? So right here, range in, it's pulling the value off, and then we're passing it to factorial, running the factorial, and then passing that on to out. And out is the one that was returned right here, right? And that's the one that was assigned right here, and then those were all right there. And so real quickly, you know, we had values being put onto a channel, and we had values being pulled off of a channel, right? And when they're pulled off, you know, so where does this one block? Where does this one block? So this one pulls a value off and puts it here, and that one blocks right there until there's something to take the value off. Well, this one got returned, and where does the value come off of this one? So that's the one that got returned from factorial, and factorial was C0, so something needs to take it off of C0. So what does merge do? How does merge pull values off of C0? So let's go look at merge. We see that merge takes in a variadic parameter of chan type, values of type chan int. So variadic, unlimited number, variadic, unlimited number of values of type chan int, and it puts those into the CS variable, CS for channels. And so where is CS being used? And so I could search for CS, and we could see CS right here. And so we have WG add length CS, and we have a weight group right here, WG weight group. And so we're adding to our weight group however many of these we have. And those CSs, we have this many of them, those channels, right? We have that many of them. Well, those channels are going to get processed. Where do they get processed? We have a function here where they get processed. And this function is going to receive a channel of ints, and it's going to range over it, and it's going to take the value off of that channel and put it onto our out channel. What is our out channel? So our out channel is a channel of ints, and that out channel is what we return. So we're taking many channels, and those many channels are coming in right here, right? And we're assigning them to CS. And those many channels are going to be the values on, we're going to pull them off. And to do that, we're going to use the output function to pull them off. And that output function, so that output function right here is used right there. And right there, what are we passing in? We're ranging over all of our channels. We're getting the channel, and we're launching a go routine, and we're putting that channel in here, and we're running this function, which is output, right, which takes a channel event, which is what we gave it, and we're ranging over that channel. We get the value, we put it onto out, and then when that's done, we call WG done. So those are all off and running. Right here, they're off and running, and every time one finishes, we bring down the value of our weight group by 1, and then we launch one more go routine right here, and we say wait. And so when all of these have finished, when they've all finished, this is waiting until all of these have finished, right? And when all of those have finished, we're going to close out. And we have to close out because when we close out, which is what's returned right here, which is what we're ranging over, this range will know, okay, that channel's been closed, we're done with the program, and it'll exit. Otherwise, we're going to hang right here waiting for more values because the channel that was returned by this never closes. So the reason you have to have this right here is because you're waiting for everything to be put onto your out channel. And then when everything's been put on your out channel, we're done putting things on the out channel because all of the weight groups for each of the channels we're pulling off of have been put onto the out channel. We're done with that. When they're all done, we're waiting till they're all done. We close that channel. And when that channel's been closed, this knows, oh, the channel's closed. There's nothing more to pull off. I pull off the last value and then I'm finished. Whew. So that's kind of, you just have to think your way through it. And I hope that made it a little bit more clear for you. Clear as mud. But I hope that answered your question.